Right, so this is a bit of a different format for me from obviously first probably YouTube video or whatnot, but the goal of making these videos that are going to be coming out probably like every week or every couple of days is just to document the journey and the business journey that we're on right now at the moment because every person that I speak to who's like 5 years ahead of me, the one thing they always regret is just not documenting that process in whatever format, whether that's through a podcast, a sit down head talking video like this, vlogs, whatever it specifically is. And I don't want to make that same mistake because you kind of get this perception that unless you're making multi seven figures a year, that you don't have the right to make videos and content and document the process, which is just completely incorrect. And like these are the type of videos you look back on and be like, wow, I'm glad I made those videos. So that's what these style of videos are going to be. Just essentially talking head, running through what we're doing at the moment, whether it's relevant to anybody, whether it's relevant to somebody. It's mainly for me just have a way to keep a track of how we're going and where we're building and hold us accountable to that goal we're working towards. But obviously this is probably the first video. Someone come from Instagram watching this or whatnot, but I'm Joe. I run a marketing agency and we work with local service and trade companies in the US. And it's not an SMMA, but we provide lead gen sales and marketing for those companies. So yeah, this is going to document our process of growing to that kind of first target goal that we have of 6 figures a month, which is 100K a month, and how we're building and how we're working towards that. That's going to be the main process that's going to be documented here in the first box that we're looking to tick. And we haven't just started or anything. I've been doing this specific offer for the last 10 months. Not going to say exactly where we're at right now, but essentially we've gone through ebbs and flows over last year, Q3, Q4, hiring people, making hiring mistakes, going into different industries we shouldn't have gone into, and just usual mistakes that happen. They're not mistakes, they're learning curves at the end of the day. So pretty much what we're at now is my expectations of where we can actually take business to definitely were flawed, and I've realized a lot more risk is going to be needed to put on the table in order to achieve that 6 figure month that we're looking to hit. But yeah, like pretty much I started working this offer probably around 9-10 months ago and just hit it with storm, and grew pretty quickly, as in I grew pretty quickly. It was just me. Then made our first hire, brought in a client success manager, and that was the first process for me, training someone else, building SOPs, letting them know, taking my brain and putting it into someone else essentially. And then I brought on someone for sales, and then that sales position quickly transitioned into an ops and fulfillment position. And we stayed with a very lean team of 3 people all the way up until the end of last year. And thankfully, with everything in this world, you don't need a 10-person team to run a 7-figure company, which is amazing. But now what we've done in this position is we've mainly grown our company from cold email. Cold email is what we provide as a service, but we've simply focused on cold email to grow this company so far, and our referrals and our network, which is amazing. But I kind of made the executive decision come the start of this year that we are going to massively double down, because us hitting our goals we want to hit, we weren't doing half enough from a sales and marketing perspective. So essentially my role right now within the company is I'm purely focused on sales and marketing, primarily marketing, and operations and fulfillment is outsourced right now at the moment. When I say outsourced, key team member who's operating and working on that. Shout out to you, Valentine, for that. But it allows me to completely focus on growing our sales and marketing. And we're at the point right now where January I spent the full month building, making mistakes, learning from it, etc., etc. We brought on a new closer, sales manager, and 2 SDRs right now at the moment. And from a metrics point of view, everything is going great. We're booking calls, and our main new acquisition channel that we're using is ads. And that's the key thing. Is cold email is great. It's extremely profitable. It's extremely low cost, but it's not a machine. We need to know that if we can put X amount of dollars in, what are we going to get out, and have those exact numbers to be able to be tracked. It's the only way to scale. And I think everyone kind of comes to that realization once they've kind of crossed that first significant threshold of business in a service-based business. So that's where we're currently at, and our main focus is ads combined with cold calling, going after and hunting down franchises in the US. along with still doing cold email and our referrals and everything, but we're not banking on it. We're trying to build this six-figure a month company mainly and primarily from ads. And we've really not even touched into ads that much. So pretty much what I've made the decision to do is massively double down. So we're going to be taking what most people would consider rather big risk. But at the end of the day, risk is just completely relative to how you see it, if that makes sense. As in, what I see as risky, someone else in my position, somewhere else in the world may not see as risky because they're surrounded themselves with other people who take risk that's 10 times bigger than that. So it's completely relative. But in our case, we spent maybe $1,500 on ads in January, and we're looking to push that as quick as we can. And I was speaking to our media buyer how quickly we can get that to 20K per month, because when I ran our numbers, which are limited data, is if we do spend 20K a month on ads, we can collect 100K in cash, in new cash. And that's new cash as well. That's removing our existing customers. That's excluding contract value. That's purely new cash collected for the month. But obviously you have to scale to that position. You can't just quickly jump up to it. So what we're focusing on now is how we can position ourselves to be in the point where we can spend 20K a month on ads and be able to, number one, have the ad creatives and everything that we need to actually scale with that budget while still not breaking our metrics and destroying our cost per lead and our cost per book call, destroying our sales team because they're overworked, not having enough closers to actually take those sales calls, etc., etc. So Jeremy Haynes talks about this, where your sales and marketing has to be aligned. You have to always constantly have your sales team that bit above your marketing, and every time you make a push, the sales team needs to just slightly be ahead every time, because if it breaks past it, everything breaks and all your metrics die and you double your cost per call, etc., etc. So like right now we're booking a lot of calls from ads. We probably booked 25 calls from ads in the last 2 weeks, but we've closed nothing, and that's the thing. And a lot of them have been qualified calls, but we are selling something pretty expensive. So the sales cycle is a bit longer. We're pitching 7, 9, 8K offers for 3 months. So the sales cycle is definitely a bit longer, which is something that's a bit new to me because I'm used to making sales a bit quicker within a couple of days or even on a 1-call close. But that's when we're selling something for 4,500, 5K, let's say. So this is a bit of a different journey overall because we have stepped our offer up, so it's a lot more valuable to these companies. But that is the one thing, is our sales cycle has been pretty slow, so definitely gets me a bit nervous. But at the same time, I've had this before, and it's kind of just like, just keep pushing, keep filling the calendar, keep selling, identify issues, and just build as big a pipeline as possible, and just continue to nurture and follow up with that pipeline. Because in the past, what we've done is we've gone on these rampant marketing campaigns for a month, built up this great pipeline, sold X amount of clients, but then there was nothing after that. Sales went stale then for a month after that, and that's not what I'm trying to let happen here. And that's where ads comes in massively, because we can constantly retarget the same people, whereas with a cold email, we can send them 2, 3, 4 emails. With ads, we can constantly retarget them until they book in. They could see us for the first time. We're sitting today on the 4th or 5th of February, and they could book a call with us on the 5th of March. So that's what we're focusing on right now, is just building marketing systems that are never going to slow down, that we're always going to have filled pipelines. Because at the end of the day, if the sales cycle is 2 to 3 weeks, which it shouldn't be, but if it is that case, we constantly have new leads and new bookings and new proposals out there. So it all just kind of falls on top of each other. So for example, like by next week, this update could be completely different, and from our ads, we could have closed 5 new sales, and that's just a proof in the pudding. But then at the same time, we want to be able to know that a week later we've closed another 5. And the only way we do that is constantly by having an enriched and full pipeline of proposals and deals and offers, and never letting that slow down. And obviously we're trying to make a massive push. And I kind of sat down with our team the other day and said, we want to do 100K cash. What's stopping us from doing that outside of spending money? It was the team. And there was nothing wrong with that, because we brought on new salespeople. You have to be somewhat realistic, even though I don't like that word, with who you have and what you're operating with. But our closer needs to get ramped up to a level where he's satisfied, where he can then bring on someone else and we can bring on more SDRs. Like, there is a process to it. But I sat down and I laid out those goals, made them crystal clear. So it's put everyone a bit more on, it's pushed everyone a lot more to level up quicker, so for say. and original targets that they had internally for themselves of like, oh, by X, I will achieve Y and I'll have Y done. We've changed those, cut those back, making those happen 2 weeks earlier than usual, because our goal, as I said, is to hit that 100k cash month by the end of Q1 at the very latest. If we haven't done 100k cash by the end of Q1, it's a massive failure in my eyes. So a lot of work to be done. We're sitting on the 5th of February today. Not happy at all with where we're currently at, but the work is being done, the bookings are being made, we are making the push we need, but we just need a lot more sales to come in to be able to hit those goals and targets that we're looking to hit. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. And that's kind of like a broader, bigger overview. I'll do a lot more kind of detailed ones breaking down what happened yesterday, what did we do yesterday, what issues happened, what sales calls happened, etc., 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 and being a bit more granular with it. But yeah, that's where we're kind of at right now. And it's very vague. And if you don't know exactly what I do, you're just hearing sales, marketing, ad spend, yada, yada, yada. So we probably might get more detail on that. Had a lot of people rip our agency and our offer. So do you want to be considerate of that as well, and not create our own unnecessary competition, but at the same time, there's competition everywhere. So it's a double-edged sword, really. But yeah, that is where we're at right now. So this is the first sit down, head talking, Doc the Journey episode, and hopefully we'll keep these consistent and track this whole process as we move from where we're currently at to that 6-figure a month mark by the end of Q1. And yeah, if you don't even like to say it, but drop a comment, whatever those YouTube guys do. But honestly, internally, this is mainly just for me to track this full process and be able to look back on this in a year, 2 years, 5 years, and just see our journey that we went through. So yeah, it'll also allow me to keep in the loop and actually reflect on what's been done and identify issues that I probably wouldn't have realized unless I actually sat down and spoke about them. So yeah, that's the first one. Peace.